Grange, a very warm welcome from Durban, South Africa. We get you the news and the newsmakers from Africa. From elections to climate change to innovations and opportunities. As the world's attention shifts, we report from Africa, the heart of the global South. Join me every weekday live on Firstpost. Hello and welcome to Firstpost Africa, where we get you the top stories from the continent and from across the world. I'm Alyson Grange, coming to you live from Durban, South Africa. First, let's take a look at the headlines. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu dissolves the war cabinet that had been overseeing the war in Gaza, solidifying his grip on decision-making over fighting Hamas. Calling the G7 summit a statement full of lies, arrogance and prejudice, Beijing hits back at world leaders after they warned China to stop sending weapons components to Russia. United States Special Forces Command conduct a combined live-fire exercise with South Korean forces in response to North Korea's weapons testing and ballistic missile launches. At least 8 people killed and over 25 injured after a goods train rammed into an express passenger train, derailing 3 carriages in India's West Bengal state. Nigeria's annual inflation rises to a new 28-year high of 33.95%, worsening the hardships and fueling public anger against President Bola Tinubu's economic reforms. Hello and welcome. We begin with the latest from South Africa. Though Cyril Ramaphosa has secured another term as the country's president, but post-poll turbulence has refused to die down. In the latest, graft-tainted former President Jacob Zuma's party has decided to join hands with smaller opposition parties in the South African National Assembly. Zuma's MK party says its decision comes in a bid to take on the newly formed coalition government between the African National Congress and the Democratic Alliance. The MK party has said it will join the opposition alliance called the Progressive Caucus, which comprises of the Economic Freedom Fighters, or the EFF, and the centre-left United Democratic Movement.
This united effort is necessary because the 2024 election has also resulted in the consolidation of right-wing and reactionary forces who are opposed to economic freedom, racial economic transformation, racial equality, and land repossession.
The MK party performed surprisingly well in the May 29th election, securing the 3rd position. It won 14.6% of the vote in South Africa's 400-seat National Assembly. And now the MK's alliance with the EFF and the UDM will command close to 30% of the seats in the National Assembly. The announcement of the alliance is a significant development since last week, when the MK party filed a complaint with the country's top court, seeking to block the new parliament's first sitting. This was over allegations of vote rigging. But the top court dismissed the MK party's complaint, saying it lacked merit, following which Zuma's MPs boycotted Friday's National Assembly sitting. Now, MK has decided to take up its seats in the National Assembly after receiving legal advice, and the party says they will continue to raise their concerns in the courts and the parliament. The Jacob Zuma-led party registered grave objections to the lack of law and order during the May 29th polls. It alleged that over 9 million votes have not been accounted for and accused the electoral process of being deeply flawed with serious voting irregularities. The party asserts that it would have won the elections had they been conducted in a free and fair manner. Now, that's despite the Independent Electoral Commission saying that the election was indeed legitimate.
We are going to the International Court so that this country does not have the South African judges doing so. Judges who get angry and sentence you because they hate you. We are going to the judges that look at things, look at issues. We are going there. It's fine that people are in government now, and I hope they did not commit anything wrong, because we are going to dig and dig and dig until the truth comes through.
Zuma also criticized the unity government, calling it meaningless and a white-led unholy alliance. Meanwhile, his party has asked the Electoral Court to declare that the May 29th elections as invalid. It is now seeking an order from the court directing the president to call for new elections.
Let us see the votes properly. We've got many stories about votes, some banned. You don't even need to listen to what people have to say. There must be a repeat. No. There must be an elections.
Now, although the re-election of Cyril Ramaphosa as president has ended South Africa's political deadlock, but it has certainly opened a new chapter of rivalry between friends turned foes, Zuma and Ramaphosa. For more on this, we have with us a writer and political analyst, Kim Heller, who is joining us live from Johannesburg. Hello to you, Kim. Thank you for being with us on Firstpost Africa.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Now, Kim, what are the main objectives and policies that the proposed opposition alliance, the Progressive Caucus, aims to achieve?
The Progressive Caucus, which, as you said, the MK party is now joining, is an alliance between what we'd call the black political parties that are sitting to the left of the ANC, especially now that the ANC has taken a very centrist approach and joined the DA in an alliance, a coalition of sorts. And the Progressive Alliance will be seeking probably the antithesis of what the Government of National Unity will be doing. That is, they'll be looking at the matters of land injustice, of the lack of economic transformation. They'll be focusing on pro-black policies at a political time where the government is moving certainly to a centrist, white-orientated ideology and program. So the parties on the left will be pursuing what they believe should have been pursued fully in 1994, which is the agenda of black liberation. That includes economic liberation, land restoration, and cultural and constitutional review.
Right. Zuma has called the National Unity Government a meaningless and white-led unholy alliance and is seeking another order from the court wanting the president to call fresh elections, saying that the 29th of May elections were rigged. What is your assessment of his statements?
Well, to comment on the first part, I think Jacob Zuma is completely correct in saying that this is a white-led government, because the DA, which is an apartheid-based organization, which has always put white interests at the center of its policies, is now almost leading the ANC. Whilst the ANC still has a higher percentage, we're seeing an adoption of a lot of the EFF-type policies and a move away from policies that will serve the ordinary black South African and favor white business and white Western markets in the main. So he is correct in that. I think in his legal bids to bring the election results under scrutiny, Jacob Zuma, as has any citizen in this country, has the right to pursue legal recourse. However, he has yet to bring what I believe is a heap of evidence to support his claims. So whilst he has the right to protest the election results, which to me, by all accounts, seem reasonably fair, he also has a responsibility to bring evidence to back his claims, which are quite alarming and could have dire consequences for South Africa. So yeah, in summary, let him back up what he's saying as he enters the court system to query the results.
Right, and has there been any response from other opposition parties or political figures regarding Zuma's statements?
I have yet to see official comments from either the EFF or any of the other smaller parties, but I would imagine that they would welcome this initiative because, as you said, it takes them from a 13% based opposition party formation of parties to just over 30%, making that far more formidable. Whether the different personalities in this assortment of Black political parties will work together is something that we're still going to see unfold. But I think the development of policies, leadership, and the like are all work in progress. What's very interesting, I found, was the initiative to take this alliance outside of Parliament, to fight battles in other domains. And I think that's very powerful and could really shift the power dynamics, both inside Parliament and outside.
Kim, thank you very much for being with us and for your valued insights, as always.
Thank you so much.
Shifting focus to Western Africa's Sahel region, where armed insurgency continues to create unrest. In the latest, an armed group linked to the terror outfit Al-Qaeda has claimed responsibility for a recent attack in Burkina Faso that killed over 100 soldiers. The attack has been claimed by Al-Qaeda affiliate JNIM. On the 11th of June, the JNIM fighters stormed into a military post in the Mansilla area of Burkina Faso. This region borders with Niger. Now, they killed 107 soldiers and took control of the site, as per a statement by the group. The attack has been one of the deadliest suffered by Burkina Faso army. The military junta has not yet commented on the attack. However, several online videos showed raging fire around the army base. Another video showed a display of ammunition and dozens of weapons, and also at least 7 soldiers captured alive. For over a decade, Islamist insurgencies have killed thousands and displaced over 2 million in Burkina Faso. In 2022, Burkina Faso's military took over power after a coup and ousted the president. The military junta said the government had failed to tackle the security challenges. Burkina Faso's junta currently controls just over half of the country's territory. The rest is controlled by armed groups. The West African country and its neighbors, Niger and Mali, have been witnessing an uptick in violence by Islamist insurgents linked to Al-Qaeda and the IS. Now, the insurgents control swathes of territories in these 3 countries and use them as bases to target southern coastal countries. Now, Burkina Faso, Niger and Mali, all 3 junta-ruled states, have vowed to cooperate to face these security challenges. The 3 have also pushed out French troops and have strengthened ties with Russia to tackle these security challenges. Now, they are also exploring new partnerships with China, Turkey, and Gulf nations. Despite this, the region still remains deeply affected by Islamist violence, and stability is still an elusive goal. Shifting focus to Kenya, where the killing of a court magistrate in the broad daylight has taken the country by storm. Monica Kivuti, a magistrate at the Makadara Law Courts in Nairobi, succumbed to her injuries after being fatally shot last week. She was shot by a policeman at the court after she cancelled his wife's bail plea. The policeman's wife had applied for bail after pleading guilty to obtaining 2.9 million shillings illegally. After the convict's bail plea was quashed, her husband entered the court through the magistrate's door and fired shots at her, wounding her in the chest and her left hip. The policeman, identified as Samson Kipruto, was shot dead by other police officers following the attack. 3 of those officers were also wounded in the attack but are in stable condition. Kenya's Chief Justice Martha Kekume took to the microblogging platform X to inform of the magistrate's demise, expressing solidarity on behalf of the country's judiciary. Following the shooting, the Chief Justice had initially announced the closure of the courts in the Makadara until the 17th of June. However, the closure has now been extended until the 24th of June to assess the security situation. The Justice also ordered that all matters in the Makadara courts will be heard virtually, and cases requiring physical attendance have been shifted to other courts. Meanwhile, the judiciary has promised to enhance security measures. It also assured judicial staff and other court users of their safety and security. The incident inside the courtroom has come as a shock to Kenyans. Although crimes against lawyers are not unusual, an incident inside the court has never been reported. The Law Society of Kenya has condemned the attack. It said that the incident was not an isolated event, but was in fact part of a troubling trend. The Law Society condemned the increasing threats and attacks against judicial officers and advocates. The latest case is a stark reminder of the 2016 murder of human rights lawyer Willie Kimani and 2 others. Last year, former police officer Sergeant Frederick Oleleliman was sentenced to death over the killing of Kimani. In Kenya, death sentences for murder are usually commuted to life in prison, but judges still have the discretion to decide if a death sentence can still be imposed. 3 other people were also sentenced to decades in jail for the murder. Back in 2016, the case had triggered a massive outrage in Kenya, and now a similar case has further put the legitimacy of the country's police forces into question. In Kenya, police face frequent allegations of brutality and extrajudicial killings, but are almost never charged. And finally, to our special segment, Resurgent Africa. Amid reports of coups and crises that dominate the headlines from the continent, we get you positive stories that often get overlooked. Our story from today is from Somaliland, where until recently, social stigma stopped several women from participating in sports. Somaliland has now got its first all-girls basketball team. But these young girls want to do more than just play ball. They want to become agents of change. More in our next report.
Somaliland, the breakaway territory, claimed independence from Somalia in 1991. It's unrecognized across the globe, but its young women definitely deserve recognition. The society in Somaliland is very conservative. Women participating in sports is a big taboo, but these young women fought all of that. This is Somaliland's first all-girls basketball team. The young players are the winds of change as they follow their passion to play for their homeland.
We went to that basketball court, we were few, like we were 8, 7 of us, but then afterwards we started becoming bigger. we started, bringing other girls together, and now we're almost 30 girls playing in that basketball court under the name of the Hargeisa Basketball Girls.
These girls aspire to play and represent their country, but there's a catch. Somaliland is not recognized, which means global recognition is a difficult goal. But it hasn't stopped this team as they aim to put Somaliland on the world map.
Somaliland is looking for their recognition, and we believe that we could be part of bringing the recognition from this by wearing the flags, by talking about our country, by promoting it through the short video TikToks or the Instagram pictures that we do.
Initially, there were very few of them, but now it's a team of almost 30 girls. They play under the name of the Hargeisa Basketball Girls. The team was founded in 2018. It has a large online following and is now an inspiration for many others because they achieved all this by defying all odds.
One thing was that, in our religions, we're being told that we cannot play. Girls are not supposed to be playing, not only basketball, but any kind of sports. So in my school, they told us that we can't play, and there were PE lessons, like there were PE periods in that, but then it was the only boys who were playing football at the football, court. For me, basketball is a therapy because it's the only thing that I do when I'm not feeling myself. It shows me who I am, and does it not only do that to me, but it also does to all these young girls. It shows them the ability that they can do something.
Their success has led to the formation of other female teams in Somaliland. These women might be young in age, but the change that they are bringing about is anything but that, one dunk at a time.
And that's it on the show for today. We will see you again tomorrow at the same time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.
It's over! He's done it again! Unbelievable! Oh, straight into the roof of the net.